Everyone have a seat, please, and quiet down. So we'll get started with the first session of the day with, once again, Brother Imam, Peracha, and his brother, Brother Waseem, inshallah. So please give them your undivided attention once again.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. You guys, a lot of you guys go to Islamic school, and I know how I've been teaching in Islamic schools for about 8 years now. And you have that chorus, right? وَعَلَيْكُمُ السَّلَامُ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ وَبَرَكَاتُهُ. All together. You don't really mean it, but we're just trained to say it that way, right? I went to Crescent Academy in Michigan, actually my brother as well, and so we were trained in the same format, right? So let's try that again. Assalamu alaikum. That was a broken salam. Okay, whatever. That was broken, so that's fine, inshallah. That's good enough. That'll do. Okay. So, I wanted to kind of make this lively. Okay, so I want to make it interactive, and I don't want you to feel shy at all to speak out, raise your hand, shout out if you need to. I don't mind, right? Just to give you a brief introduction about myself, I've been teaching in California for about the past 7 years, and I actually just came to visit my parents Monday night, and my brother was invited to speak, so I came because I'm with him. That's how he rolls, or whatever he said yesterday. So, anyways, I came, and Brother Khalid, where are you, Brother Khalid? There was a Brother Khalid, I think he was the one who was supposed to speak. He was generous enough to let me speak during this time. So, Jazakumullah khairan to him for that. So my topic today is about sincerity. Okay, sincerity. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with the opportunity to go to Hajj this year, right? And actually it was nice, my brother was with me. It was my first time, and he's a veteran. So, alhamdulillah, I just kind of like held on to him, walked around, got lost in MYNA a few times, but it was all good at the end. How many of you guys have went for Hajj? MashaAllah. Okay. How old were you? 10 months, so that doesn't count. You don't remember anything like this. Who else? Yes. 11. So how old are you now? 14, so about 3 years ago. What was the experience like? Yeah. There's one thing I learned from Hajj this year. It was my first one. But I learned that Hajj is really not about ibadah. It's rather about patience. How much patience you can have. And I think a lot of the guys who have went, or the sisters who have went, you can attest to that. So it's really about how sincere you are when you're going. And one of the things that was really nice in Medina, I'm sure you saw this as well, or those who went for Umrah in Ramadan and different times of the year, you might have seen this as well, where there's people in Medina, they're walking around, excuse me, I wasn't feeling well, but there's people in Medina where when it's almost time for Maghrib, they'll be grabbing you and to take you to their sutra. They have a place to eat, right, to break your fast. And so they're grabbing people, they're making them sit down, they're hugging them. There was one guy I saw, he would go hug them, he would kiss them on the forehead, and he would have them sit down. Right? And there was other times where I was walking back to the hotel, and it was kind of far, right? I went on the cheap package, you could say. And as I'm walking back, there's brothers, on the side, where they'll just stop their car. They're like locals, and they'll ask you if you need a ride. Where do you want to go? And they'll have you sit down. And then you're kind of not used to that because that doesn't happen here much. Right? And even over there, many people, they're trying to rip off the Hajis. So, but these people, you ask them how much or anything, they don't know. And then they quote a verse, they go, لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. And there's an ayah in Surah Al-Insan. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. Right? That indeed, they do things, they feed for people, they feed people only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So on the Day of Judgment, that they can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. They don't want anyone to thank them, nor do they want any type of reward from them, any monetary or any type of other type of benefit. And so from this verse, we learn one of the important things about sincerity. Now, how about you guys tell me something? Why is sincerity so important? Yes?
You're doing something for like prayer and act of or something like that, but it's not for a law. Like it's just to gain praise or respect or standing among your peers or for something in the dunya, then you're not going to get any ajr for it.
Excellent. Okay? It's zero in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's one of the things that really, when I was preparing this morning actually, this really stuck out, and I really thought about this as like a magnifying glass. It might be the smallest deeds, right? So the camp's title or the theme of the camp is small deeds. So it might be the smallest deed, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala magnifies it. Why is it magnified? What's the cause or the sabab of it to be magnified? Niyyah, intention. Okay? So if you have a strong niyyah, you have a strong intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala magnifies this action. And you guys probably can give me lots of stories from the Sahaba's time about certain things like this. So who can give me one example from the Prophet's life or from like a Sahabiya? More specific, it has to do with animal rights. Anyone? No. Yes?
I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but he was like thirsty and there was a well and there was a dog and he went down the well and he filled his shoe with water and gave the water to the dog.
Excellent. That's in all like the basic Islamic books, right? How many of you guys go to Islamic school or went to Islamic school? Okay? Wow. Okay, mashallah. Genesee Academy.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. But it's a nice school. I visited in the summer and mashallah, it's a nice school. It's a very nice community, mashallah. So this, in all the textbooks, they have the story. They have that the dog and it's thirsty and then this guy or this lady, she puts her shoe down. You know, there's different narrations, I believe. They put the shoe down and give the dog the water, and basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes this lady's life around, gives her tawfiq because of that small action. And that's one of the things I want to build on. That sometimes with the smallest action, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes your life around. Okay? So it might be like you're doing a lot of sins, right? And all of a sudden you did something, but you did it sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed your whole life around because of that action. Right? It might be the smallest thing, but because of that intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases that tawfiq. That, what's a good translation for tawfiq? I don't know. There's no translation for that word, I guess. But anyway, but subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change your life around because of that small action. And the opposite is true as well. Where if a person is doing good deeds, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ability to do good, maybe, tawfiq. The ability to do good, right? Or to do righteous actions. But the opposite is true as well. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you might be doing good deeds. And all of a sudden you did something you thought it was like not a big deal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala switches it all around. There's a famous hadith in the collection of Nawawi that talks about this. Where a person is so close to Jannah that he's an arm's length away. Okay? And he basically can touch it. But then he does some actions, or the hadith, the way it goes, that he turns or at the end of his life, his deeds turn around and he starts doing bad actions and he dies in that way, right? There's a lot of explanation that goes along with that. I'm not going to go into that. But the other one also, where a person is so close to hellfire, and all of a sudden, because of some good deeds he does, and with extreme sincerity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes his course to go to Jannah. And that's one of the things that we should also remember, that we should never look down upon any one of our brothers or sisters. Oh man, she doesn't wear hijab, she's going to hell, right? Oh, he doesn't have a beard, or he doesn't wear the kufi, or he doesn't pray, or whatever. Okay, these are all important things. I'm not trying to, demean them, but the point is that we should never judge someone else. Remind them, that's our duty, that's our responsibility. But don't judge other people, condemning them, and such things like that. Now, the scholars, they say there are two things that have to be in there basically to have your deeds accepted. One is a pure intention, like the brother said. Okay? And the second thing is the correctness of the deed. What does that mean, the correctness of that deed, or the correctness of that? What do you think that means? Sisters. Come on, you were shouting when I said genocide.
It's something that
represent GA for us. Come on. Yeah.
it's something that is representative of the Quran and the Sunnah, or stated like kind of.
Excellent. So it represents, or it's from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if a person, for example, how many rak'ah do we pray for Fajr?
2.
2. All of a sudden, I want to be extra pious. He has a good intention. He says, I'm going to pray 4. Is it accepted? How many say yes? How many say no? Good. Okay, yes. No, it's not accepted. Okay, no, it's not accepted, right? And this is very, very important to know as well. Okay? That we have to go in accordance to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in order for our deeds to be accepted. And of course, you have the sincere intention. One of the scholars, he said that a person, when you came to the camp, I'm sure you packed a lot of things. They probably gave you a list of items to bring, right? Something like that, maybe? I don't know. Okay, so they gave you a bunch of things, okay, and you bring it, you pack up 2 bags, you bring them, you're hauling them over here, and maybe half of the things you never actually use here, right? So the scholar said, he said it's the deeds that are done without the right intention and without the sunnah is like a person who's traveling and who doesn't take advantage of the things that he has. Okay? So he doesn't use those provisions or the things that he has, his bags. He just doesn't use it. He just starts, the whole journey goes through that whole journey without using those things. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our good deeds. And as my brother was mentioning last night, that, don't put the heat on and open the door, right? So we do lots of good deeds, but then we also backbite and, do all sorts of different things which make our good deeds go away. And so this is extremely important to try to keep and save on to those things that we have and that we've done. Because there will be people on the Day of Judgment that will be bankrupt. Have you heard of this hadith before? It's extremely important. And so the Prophet ﷺ asked, actually the Sahaba, he said, who are the people who are bankrupt? And the Sahaba, they said, well, the person who loses everything, the person who, he doesn't have money, he doesn't have wealth, or, his business goes down, whatever. And he says, no, the person who is bankrupt is the one who goes on the Day of Judgment with the mountains of good deeds. And when he goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's people he's done wrong to. He's backbit, them, he's hit them, he's done all sorts of things, pranks, practical jokes on them. How many of you guys have been gotten good in this camp? What happened? I'll tell you my story a few years ago, but anything. Man, you guys are doing a great job controlling the guys. We went to a YM camp. You know YM? I don't know if you've heard of them. Young Muslims. So my brother, we all went down there. It was a cabin. In the middle of the night, these guys came into our cabin, okay? Started yelling all sorts of different things, and we didn't know what, everyone's sleeping, of course. They had a bunch of M80s, those really loud firecrackers. And so they set them, they threw them basically in our room, and they just let them pop, right? And one of my friends who was at the camp, he almost had a heart, he was in complete shock. Alright? He almost had a heart attack. It was pretty scary actually. He wasn't able to talk for like 5-10 minutes afterwards. And they got my brother good too with the toothpaste, right, all over his hair. But that's good, mashallah. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm giving you ideas. Okay, but anyways, please don't do that, okay? But we got them back, and he can tell you how we got them back. Huh? No, because we didn't know who did it.
That's awesome.
So we got everyone in the camp back. Okay, anyways, but going back, so those people are bankrupt because they lost all their good deeds. And there's another hadith that talks about the first groups of people who will be judged on the Day of Judgment. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these people. So one is a person who is, he was like fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or like, doing, at that time of course, defending the borders or something like that, right? And so he was very brave, but on the Day of Judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks him that what did you do for me? He said, well, I was brave, I fought in this many battles, I did this, whatever, all these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call him a liar. And then he will tell him that actually you did that so people can praise you, right? And so this person's good deeds will, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, that has been done, right? And so you have nothing now. The second person will be a sheikh, or an imam, or a scholar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from being people like this. Where that person used to give lectures, that person used to give speeches, or halaqat and fatawa, and all these things. But he gave it so people will call him, oh, he's such a great speaker, we have to invite him again. Or, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, he's such a big sheikh, everyone wants to talk about him and stuff like that. And so they used to love that, and his deeds will be taken away. And the third person is who? Something to do with giving. You give a lot of charity, right? Okay? And mashallah, you got, how many of you from Flint again? What did you say? It sounded like Tupac. I way back, but alhamdulillah, I don't listen to music anymore, but it sounded something like you would say. But Flint, mashallah, a very giving community, right? I was there in, I think it was Ramadan, one night. Dr. Ramzi, mashallah, a great speaker, awesome guy. I've benefited from him so much. But they raised I think it was 400,000 for another masjid in 15 minutes. I was like, what the heck is this, man? If I never need any money, I'll come in over here, okay? So this is something that is amazing. But the person will come, and he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you gave me so much wealth, I shared that, I gave it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, no, you're a liar. You gave it, so people will call you generous, right? And these people will be all thrown in hell. Okay, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the hellfire. Now, what are some ways of gaining sincerity? Okay? What are some ways of gaining sincerity? One, raqaba. Okay, raqaba, muraqaba. Basically, sitting down and reflecting, your actions. Okay, maybe taking an account of yourself at the end of the day. Maybe taking an account of yourself in the mornings, right? Sometime during the day that you just kind of think back and what did I really do today? If I die today, okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judge me just on today's actions, where would I be going, right? So, and what was I doing it for? Or who was I doing it for? And so do this muraqaba, like a self-reflection on yourself. They say that some of the scholars of the past, they would actually trick their wives. Okay? What they would do is they would wait until their wife went to sleep, like snoring, I've heard people snore like bears. And it's crazy. But anyways, it sounds like, something. I told him, what's that thing called? The thing that you put on your nose and it's supposed to stop it?
The nose.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, so they tried that didn't work. It was still loud. So, but anyways, this is something that they would do. They would wait until they're sleeping, they'd get up, and they would pray. So not even their own wife knows that they're praying in the middle of the night. Okay? And another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ talks about like how righteous women, right, are like, what they do is they'll wake up their husbands, right, for Fajr, for example, or in the middle of the night. They'll wake them up. If they don't wake up, they'll sprinkle some water on them, and in a nice way, My mom used to dump cold water on me. I didn't like that, okay? But anyways, this is, do it in a nice way where you wake them up. And some women, though, they don't do it in a nice way. They come, wake up, you munafiq, right? What the heck's wrong with you, right? If people knew the reality and whatever, that's not that's not nice, right? So you have to do it in a nice way, and in waking them up and stuff like that, right? Now, there's a hadith of 7 people under the shade. How many of you guys have heard of that before? The 7 under the shade, right? Right? The 7 under the shade when there's no shade. And there's, I'm not going to go into that, but the theme of that hadith, if you think about it, is really that all those actions are done sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The person who gives with their right hand and their left hand doesn't know even how much. They just stick, I saw so many people, mashallah, doing that during Hajj. They just like, they don't care, right? They just give it. Or they want to give it. Hand it to them. And so this is something that they just give, right? They don't really think about it, how much they're giving. And so all the other people, right? The person who saves themselves from doing haram, like zina and things like that, right? When nobody's going to be able to find out, right? And they're only scared. Why did they not do that action? Because they're scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The third, the one who loves his brother for, I'm not saying them in order, but the person who loves their brother, only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, anyways, basically, it's talking about how all of these people have this in common, where it's that sincerity of intention, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala magnifies it to the point where when everyone's on the Day of Judgment, they don't have shade, they're the ones who are given that shade. And I'm just thinking about it now, subhanAllah. After Hajj, we went for Umrah, like a week, 2 weeks later, after it kind of calmed down a little bit. And it was Jummah time, so we went upstairs, and it took us like an hour and a half just to get upstairs, because people just kind of sit in the way, right? You probably remember that. People just stand in the streets and sit in the streets, and it's hard to get to the masjid. So we finally get to the masjid, and we're like, what the heck? Nobody's sitting, it's wide open. And there's certain places where there's shade and it's all filled, right? And I was thinking about that I don't know why, it came to my mind, that on the Day of Judgment, will we look for those places of shade, or will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honor us with those places of shade? Right? Will we have to kind of go through all that hardship, 2-3 hours to get to that place, and try to squeeze ourselves in? Or is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like, come here, this is your place. The angels will call us to that place. So it's something maybe to think about, to reflect upon, that, and to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put us in there. Now, what are some other practical ways to check our intentions or be more sincere? Before doing the action, we have to really think about it. Why are we doing this? Okay, why am I giving this speech? Right? Imam Malik, rahmatullah alayhi, he would actually sometimes, I believe it was Imam Malik, rahmatullah alayhi, he would stop in the middle of the lecture sometimes and stop speaking, and then he would start again. And someone asked him later about that, and he would say that, well, I was correcting my intention. Like he might have had just a little bit of doubt. So Imam Malik was doing that. Who the heck are we, right? And some of us, we give speeches and different things like that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our intentions. Also during the action itself, like if you help out at a soup kitchen or something like that, right? Before you go, when you're getting ready to go, why are you going? Okay? You want to meet up with someone there? You want to meet some friends? You want to look good for someone of the opposite gender or something like that, right? Why are you going? You go there, while you're doing the action, you need to fix your intention. Make sure that you're checking yourself. And the third, after you've done it, don't share that action with other people. Oh yeah, I went to the soup kitchen 3 weeks in a row. You know, I'm really, really good in that way. Don't share it because that wastes your good deeds as well. Unless you're doing it to like motivate people and stuff like that, that's different. But be careful, don't share your good deeds. Some of the scholars, they said, conceal your good deeds like you conceal your bad deeds. How careful are we when we do mistakes or bad deeds? Right? We are so careful, we make sure that nobody finds out what we've done. So how are we when we do good deeds? Are we the same way or do we care? Perfect your actions, good deeds and bad deeds, in public and in private. Okay? Try to think about it, that do I do more good deeds in public or when I'm alone by myself? Right? And that will be a good gauge to tell you whether or not or how, you know, your life is. And lastly, just to mention this, there is one of the scholars, he said that we spent 40 years learning how to correct our intention. 40 years. You know, and it's not like they were slow or anything like that, right? It's just that this action is so hard that they spent their lives, while they're learning, of course, other things. It's not like, okay, I just focused on my intention. But for 40 years they spent just trying to learn how to properly, you know, make sure that they're doing things for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always, you know, thinking about things and reflecting about their actions. And now I have an activity, if you don't mind, inshallah. And it has, if you don't mind, I'm going to take some time, inshallah. Okay? So, we went to Domino's last night. I didn't have any paper, so I wrote on napkins. Forgive me. Okay? But I thought of this idea in the morning. So it's like Islamic taboo. How many of you guys have played taboo before? My dad, he's there. He calls it taboo or something like that. I don't know what he said. What did you say? Something like that. Okay. Right. So it's Islamic taboo, and what we're going to do is, well, I'm going to be showing you this. Okay. But there's different actions, good deeds, you know, that are listed, and there's things that you're not supposed to, like words that you're not supposed to say with these, right? Let me just ask you again. How many of you guys have played taboo before? Okay. Okay, most of you. How many have not played ever? What the hell? So you should get a life. Okay? You guys are boring people.
Seriously.
Or we're boring and you're actually having interesting lives and actually leave the home. Okay. But whatever. But this is, you're not allowed to say any of these words. We're going to have a competition between brothers and sisters. I'm going to give you about 1 minute to try to guess what it is. If you get it right, you get a point. Okay? And really, I don't have any gifts for you, so, and you're much old enough to not really want anything. You get bragging rights. Okay? So you sisters can shout. And I'm, you know, usually in my class, the sisters win. Right? Sorry, brother. So try to prove me wrong. Okay? So this is, what I'm going to do is, I'll just have, should we have sisters first?
No.
Yes. Ladies first, okay. The Imam has spoken. Okay. Okay, so you're going to have this. My handwriting is so bad because geniuses have really bad handwriting, right? Yeah, right. Whatever. Okay, that's how I try to please myself, right? But my dad wrote these, so much of these are not this nice. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to come up and you're going to have 1 minute. I need someone with an iPhone or something to time it. You have something? Okay. So if you can time it for 1 minute. 1 minute is too much for one.
30 seconds.
I know it's 1 minute, like you have several parts.
It's usually 15 to 20 seconds.
Well, how about 30 seconds? Okay, because it's Islamic, you know, we don't know too much about Islam. Okay. So let's say 30 seconds, sister. Okay? And you just raise your hand to let that person know time's up. If you get it right, you get 1 point. Okay? And then you can shout at the, I mean, like with haya. Okay? But you can shout at the brothers and let them know that, you know what's up. Okay, so anyone who wants to come up? Huh? Yeah, who wants to keep score? Not one of the brothers because that's not fair. Anyone who's not going to participate?
I'll keep score.
Okay, sister. Okay, she's going to be kind. She'll just write it.
I'm fine.
Everyone. She's gonna. So you're sure you cannot say anything. Otherwise,
Guys.
yeah. If she says any of these words, or whoever else is gonna come up here, you lose a point. Okay. So we're gonna actually subtract a point. Okay, you got it? And if you get it right, of course. Sister, you ready? Get ready, set. Yeah, anyone not understand the rules?
Guess what she has to say.
Okay, so what you're going to do, so I have an action, and then there's several words she's not allowed to use. You have to try to guess what that action is. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of like charades, but she's going to give, yeah, she'll give you hints as to what it is. Charades is just too easy and it's too big. Get ready. You got to go. No. No Urdu, no Arabic, no Farsi, no nothing. No Punjabi, whatever.
What is your duty towards your family and stuff?
Okay. Was that time? That, they got it.
What was it?
She got it. Keeping relations with your family. Okay?
Wait, can we do one word?
I know. I know.
It can be a phrase.
This is taboo. Yeah, this is taboo. Taboo is different. Okay. So, yeah, just to let you know again, it's not just one word because, like, what are you going to say if the good deed was being good to your family? How can you make that one word? It's not possible. So that's why I had to do that, okay? But that's good, very good. Okay, brothers, who's a brave soul? Okay, come on. It's on Vader? Sister, are you gonna time? Yeah. Wait, that's not fair. I don't know if she's gonna, is she trustworthy? Yes. Wait,
There's no guide.
I shouldn't put you on the spot. Your timing, okay? Get ready. Go.
During Ramadan, we
Fast.
and
Give money.
praise
God. Give charity.
So.
Okay. Next sister. Is this camp for like basically Midwest?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, when someone is ill, it's like keep them company. So now go and
Is this too easy? I hope not. Oh yeah. You're gonna be next. Okay. That was too easy. I should have put L. That's I gave that away. Get ready. Sister, go. Okay, stop the clock. Stop the clock. Okay. Do you stop? Okay. So these words you cannot use. This is a word that they use. This is a phrase. Yes. So you cannot use any of these words. Okay, you can't say it. If you say it, you lose it. Okay, get ready. Yeah, no, none of these words. Go.
Only think about.
Sincerity.
Mia?
Oh, perspective.
The dude who knows a lot is about.
Oh, the word.
Let's give the sisters a chance to get it. They should be able to get it. Let's quiet down, please. Hey, why keep on you go ahead. Okay.
Sharif, don't be mean.
Go.
Not usually. No idea. I think the girls talk about it. What's this about?
Hey, what was the word? Seeking knowledge.
What was the word? Okay, sisters.
Wait. Wait, what?
Ready? Go.
Okay, what was the problem with it? The Quran. What do we have to do with it?
Get ready. Sisters, go.
What do we do after prayer? No, right after prayer.
Make dua. Very good. Abu, I told you to write after prayer. Okay, that gave it away.
So that we can like, can you read it?
Okay. Any of you guys go to Trust Academy?
I can read it.
At Crescent, we used to teach the sisters a lesson. Okay? So we would always completely annihilate them in any type of Jeopardy or any type of game in the class. And over here, there's something going on. Okay, let's go. Get ready. Go.
We go to Mecca and we perform.
Said the word. Yeah. You can't use
Okay, get ready. We need to quiet down or he's... Go!
Okay, so when you say these words 33 times, 33 times,
Make
33
it
times,
bigger.
well,
I said,
it's,
do it bigger.
it's what does it mean? What does it mean when you're doing it?
Raising a law.
Yes.
You got it.
They lost a point when they got that wrong, or they said one of the words. So the rule I said in the beginning, we're going to just stick to that. From what I remember, but maybe I could be wrong, in taboo, if you say one of the words, you actually lose a point. Okay? But remember, we're playing taboo, which is totally different. Anyway, whatever. Get ready. So they're at 3. Oh, you guys are tied up, bro. Get ready. Go.
Okay, so if you're a kid, the people that give birth to you are your
Mother.
parents. Okay, what's the opposite of bad? Good.
Yes, very good. This is the hard thing, I got it.
Omar.
Sister, go.
Worth 2 points.
What do you? All right. What do you do when you remove harmful?
What? No, you can't use.
I'm sorry.
The principal walks by my classroom like this, and I'm like, kind of getting embarrassed. But removing harmful objects from the road or from the path, whatever. Okay? So that was it. I'm like doing advertisement for McDonald's. Pay me well. Okay. Who wants to come on? You have it. Come on up. You're next. Get ready, sister.
You can't say eat.
Get money.
Don't worry. So if you use any of the derivatives of the word that, you know, sorry about that. Okay. So you can't do that. Score. Get ready. Sister, go.
It's. Okay, it's like before no, not sunnah. It's before it's before
We're so competitive. Everybody chill. See, look, we were so true at that point.
Get ready.
Just go. Girls are good at
The word was buha.
Give it to them. I'm not gonna win anyway.
You said it. Okay, 2 counts. You said it.
See, this could have been so much more fun. Just give it to them. Oh my goodness. Just like don't make Just give everybody a point. And oh my gosh, you lost it. My world is great. Hey,
Okay,
how
so
do we...
the girls have 4, both of you guys have 3. Okay? Their turn. You just had you still it was our point. I'm being nice, I gave you the point. Okay, let's just keep going. We only have 3 more.
Hey, girls started, guys should end.
Yeah.
Guys should end.
We'll have one, the last one will be double jeopardy then, I guess.
We'll do it.
Take tiebreaker.
Just give it to the boys. It's not like they'll get it. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure.
You missed it. Missed it. You pray, you sleep, you have, there's people in your home.
answer, so you can't tell
We
me.
didn't hear it. That happened over here too.
Yeah.
You can't give the same one. They heard the answer. She said it.
Okay, they said play by the rules.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is because we ran out of time. No, you win. Yeah, it's that simple, right? No, because they ran out of time, and it's only fair that the brothers get to steal a question. And because they said the answer, I'm gonna give them another one. Okay, because you can't use the same, question. You get, so now you get 2 turns. Whoever writes it down.
Give it 2 turns to the girls.
Well, no, not because you started. So then we have a time.